Welcome to the Political Bridge. I'm Ada. Today, we're diving into a really important topic. It's about how we manage voter information across the country. Specifically, we're looking at the debate over federal mandates for voter data sharing. This means whether the national government should tell states how to share voter lists, or if states should keep full control over their own election data. This issue touches on election integrity. It also affects how easy it is for people to vote. It's about balancing security with access. Some people believe national standards are key to fair elections. Others worry about federal overreach. They think states know best. We'll explore these different views. We want to understand the real effects on you, the voter. Let's get into it with Nico and Jordan.
Thanks, Ada. We need strong election security. That means having clean and accurate voter rolls. When states don't share data, it becomes harder to spot problems. For example, people who move across state lines might be registered in two places, or someone who passes away might still be on the rolls in multiple states. This creates chances for mistakes or even fraud. A federal mandate for voter data sharing would fix this. It would make sure all states use the best tools to keep their lists current. This protects the integrity of our elections. It makes sure every legal vote counts once. It also helps prevent illegal votes. We're talking about basic fairness here. It's about confidence in our democratic process. This isn't about taking power from states. It's about helping them do their job better. It ensures our elections are secure and trustworthy for everyone.
Nico, I agree that clean voter rolls are important, but a federal mandate for voter data sharing is a bad idea. It opens the door to many problems. First, it could make it harder for people to vote. If data is shared too broadly, states might wrongly remove voters from the rolls. This is called voter purging. We've seen this happen before. It often affects people who move a lot. It also impacts students or people with common names. Second, there are big privacy concerns. Sharing sensitive personal data across all states could lead to breaches. Your information could be exposed. Third, it takes power away from states. States know their own populations best. They can set rules that fit their unique needs. A one-size-fits-all federal rule just won't work. It could create more chaos than it solves. We need to protect the right to vote. We must also protect people's privacy.
You both raise important points. Nico, you emphasize security and accuracy. Jordan, you focus on access and privacy. Let's dig a bit deeper. Nico, how would a federal system ensure that sharing data doesn't lead to eligible voters being wrongly removed? Jordan, what specific privacy risks do you see that aren't already addressed by current state-level data protections?
Ada, a federal system wouldn't just remove voters, it would identify potential duplicates or issues. Then, states would follow their own laws to verify the information. They would contact voters before any removal. The goal is accuracy, not disenfranchisement. Tools like ERIC, the Electronic Registration Information Center, already do this well. They help states find people who have moved or passed away. A federal mandate would simply make sure all states use these types of tools. It would make sure they follow best practices. This protects against fraud. It also ensures that only eligible voters cast ballots. It actually strengthens voter confidence. It doesn't weaken it. It's about maintaining trust in our elections. It's about making sure every legal vote is counted fairly. This system would make our elections more secure. It would make them more reliable.
Nico, even with verification, mistakes happen. When states share data, it increases the risk of errors. Imagine a federal database. It would hold millions of records. One small error could affect thousands of voters. We've seen states use shared data to remove voters too aggressively. This often happens close to an election. It leaves little time for people to fix the error. This creates barriers to voting. As for privacy, state systems often have different security levels. A federal mandate would force less secure states to share data. This could expose everyone's information. It becomes a single point of failure. Your social security number, address, and voting history could be at risk. This is a huge concern. It's about protecting people's personal information. It's also about making sure every eligible person can easily vote.
Okay, let's stress test these arguments. Nico, you're arguing for a federal mandate to improve election integrity. But you haven't fully addressed the potential for federal overreach. How do we ensure Washington doesn't dictate too much to states? Jordan, you're worried about voter purges and privacy, but you haven't offered a clear alternative for addressing duplicate registrations across state lines. How do we keep voter rolls clean without some form of interstate data sharing?
Ada, the concern about federal overreach is valid. But a federal mandate for voter data sharing doesn't mean Washington dictates everything. It means setting a baseline standard. States would still manage their own voter rolls. They would still run their own elections. The federal role would be to ensure that states use modern tools. These tools help identify issues like duplicate registrations. Think of it like national highway standards. States build and maintain roads, but there are federal guidelines for safety. This improves the system for everyone. It's not about control, it's about cooperation for a common good. That good is election integrity. It ensures that our election results are accurate and trusted. It protects the fairness of our democratic process. It's a practical step to improve our voting system.
Ada, you're right. We do need to keep voter rolls clean, but there are better ways than a federal mandate. States can and do share data voluntarily. Organizations like ERIC, which Nico mentioned, are state-led. They allow states to share data and identify duplicates. This happens without federal force. States join because they see the benefit. This respects state autonomy. It also ensures that states maintain control over their data. It allows them to set their own privacy rules. We can also make it easier for people to update their registration. Things like same-day registration help. Automatic voter registration also helps. These methods keep rolls accurate. They don't put voter privacy at risk. They also don't create barriers to voting. We can have clean rolls and protect voters at the same time.
This stress test reveals a core tension. Nico, you believe federal standards are a necessary step for security. Jordan, you see voluntary state cooperation as the safer, more democratic path. Both approaches aim for clean voter rolls, but they differ greatly on how to get there. This highlights the balance between national consistency and local control.
Exactly, Ada. The problem with voluntary systems is that not all states participate. This leaves gaps. If some states don't share data, the problem of duplicate registrations persists. A federal mandate for voter data sharing ensures full participation. It creates a complete picture. This helps protect against fraud. It also builds public trust in election outcomes. We need to close these loopholes. We need to make sure every state is doing its part. This isn't about federal power grabs. It's about making our national elections secure. It's about making them fair. It ensures that our democratic process is sound. It makes sure that every vote truly matters. This is a common-sense step for a stronger democracy. It's vital for our future.
Nico, forcing states to share data could backfire. It could create more distrust. People worry about their personal information. They worry about being wrongly removed from voter lists. A federal mandate could make these fears worse. It could make people less likely to participate. Instead, we should focus on making registration easier. We should make it more secure at the state level. We should encourage states to join voluntary programs. We should also invest in better state-level technology. This empowers states. It respects their role in running elections. It protects voter privacy. It also makes sure every eligible citizen can vote without fear. We need to build confidence in our elections. We must do this by protecting voters, not by creating new risks. That's how we truly strengthen our democracy.
Jordan, I hear your concerns about distrust and state autonomy. But let's consider the national security implications beyond just domestic fraud. In an age of sophisticated cyber threats and foreign interference, fragmented state-level data makes our entire election infrastructure more vulnerable. If a foreign adversary wanted to sow chaos or target specific voter groups, the lack of a unified, secure data-sharing framework across states presents an exploitable weakness. A federal mandate, alongside robust federal cybersecurity standards, could significantly harden our defenses. It's not just about catching individual duplicates. It's about presenting a united front against those who wish to undermine our democratic process on a grand scale. We're talking about protecting the very foundation of our nation from external threats, which requires a cohesive national strategy. not a patchwork of varying state-level defenses. This isn't overreach, it's essential national security in the digital age.
Nico, while I agree that national security and cyber threats are paramount, a federal mandate for voter data sharing could actually exacerbate those risks, not mitigate them. Creating a single, centralized federal database of all voter information would be an incredibly attractive target for foreign adversaries. Instead of having to breach 50 different state systems, they would have one massive honeypot to attack. This single point of failure dramatically increases the potential damage from a successful cyber attack. Furthermore, federalizing this data could lead to a race to the bottom in terms of security, as the system would only be as strong as its weakest link, and states might be forced to adopt less secure federal standards. It's far more resilient to maintain distributed control, allowing states to implement diverse security protocols. This diversity makes it harder for a single attack to compromise the entire system, providing a more robust defense against foreign interference than a consolidated, vulnerable federal database.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful discussion. Nico and Jordan, thank you both for sharing your perspectives on the future of voter data sharing. It's clear this issue has many layers, touching on security, access, and state rights. Your insights have helped us understand the complexities involved. You can find more information and resources at tpbridgepod.com. Join us next time for another engaging discussion. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep bridging those political divides.